Hi to all. This is a QA introduction class. So this class is in purely English. So if anyone needs the Telugu class, tomorrow again I'll repeat the same class in Telugu. Right. Coming to the today's session. See, before entering into the QA, QA training, so we should know about SDLC. So what is the meaning of SDLC? SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Software Development Lifecycle. It is nothing but a steps to develop a software. That means in a software development, what are the steps involved? Okay, ma'am. In the software development, what are the steps involved? See, the first step is requirement collection or requirement gathering. See, in every software company, there is a team like the requirement gathering team or a requirement collection team. The team will go to the client area, they discuss with the client, and they gather the requirements. And the requirements will be documented as BRS and FRS. So before this, we should know who is a vendor and who is a client. So here, the vendor means who develops the project. Vendor means who develops the project. So that person or that company is called as a vendor. Client means to whom we are developing the application. To whom we are developing the application. So that person or that company is called as a client. For example, for your understanding purpose, I'll give a small example here. So assume like a Wipro software company develops a project for ICICI Bank, for example. So in this example, who is a vendor and who is a client? Yes, here the Wipro people, vendor. Why? Because they are developing the application. Here the client is ICICI Bank is the client. Why? Because the Wipro people develops a project for ICICI Bank. So here, this is our software company. This is a client to whom you are developing the application. It may be a bank, it may be an insurance company, it may be a hospital, or it may be a college, or it may be a medical shop, or anything. A client can be anything. Okay. So now coming to the requirement collection. In requirement collection, in our company, there is a team like a requirement gathering team. The requirement gathering team will go to the client area. So they will discuss with the client, they gather the requirements, and they documented the requirements as a BRS and FRS. So here the BRS stands for Business Requirement Specification. FRS stands for Functional Requirement Specification. Business Requirement Specification, and here the FRS means Functional Requirement Specification. Anyway, in our future classes, we are going to see what is the template for BRS, what is the template for FRS. A template means the structure. In our language, we can say like it's a structure. So what is the structure of BRS? What is the structure of FRS? So we are going to see in our regular classes in future sessions. Okay. See, just today, it is introduction class only. Okay. Now coming to the next one, feasibility analysis. Now, what is the meaning of a feasibility? Generally, the feasibility is nothing but the possibility. Possibility. See, to perform any task, we have a number of possibilities. Out of a multiple possibilities, we have to choose one of the best possibility. So for any task in our life, we have a number of possibilities. So out of a multiple possibilities, multiple options, we need to choose which is the best possibility, which is the best option. Here also, in feasibility analysis, mainly the four things will be analyzed. So what are the four things? First of all, domain analysis. Domain analysis means our project is coming under which domain? So like the project is under insurance domain, is it under a banking domain or telecom domain, healthcare domain? So in our language, we can say like the sector. The project is under banking sector or insurance sector, or telecom sector, or is it a healthcare sector, like that. The second one is a technology. So which is the best technology to develop the project? Like the .NET is the best. or the Java is the best. So which is the best technology to develop the project? It will be analyzed. Next one is the resources. Like to complete the project, what are the hardware things required? What are the software things required? How much manpower is required? All these things will be analyzed here. The next one is time and budget. To complete the project, how much time it will take? To complete the project, how much budget or how much cost it will take? So all these four issues will be analyzed in the feasibility analysis. So after this, coming to the next phase, designing. And one more thing, our training is QA training. So as a QA engineer, we are not involved in all these things. So where is our involvement? Where is our job? Our job is only with testing. But before entering into this testing, we should have a little bit idea about these remaining things. That's why we are discussing. Okay, we are not involved in all these phases. As a QA engineer, we should involve only in the testing. Okay, see, presently we started with SDLC. SDLC means Software Development Lifecycle. It is nothing but a steps to develop a software. That means in a software development, what are the steps are there? The first step is requirement collection. So in our company, there is a team like a requirement collection team. They will go to the client area, they gather the requirements and they documented the requirements as a BRS and FRS. The second one is feasibility analysis. So here the mainly the four things will be analyzed. The project is coming under which domain, like banking or insurance and so on. So technology, what is the best technology to develop the project? Resources to complete the project, what are the hardware things, what are the software things, how much manpower is required to complete the project, how much time it will take and how much budget it will take. Okay, the next one is designing. In designing there are two documents, HLD and LLD. Here the HLD stands for high level designing, LLD stands for low level design. HLD means high level design. It's nothing but it represents the complete project architecture. It represents the complete project architecture, whereas the LLD is representing the individual module architecture. For example, assume like your project is having a 3 modules or 4 modules. On each and every module, the clear information is available in the LLD. So it is about the designing. So now coming to the coding. Coding is done by the developers or the programmers. So they will develop the source code here. Now, what is the meaning of source code? Source code means the code which is used to develop your project development code done by your programmers or developers. After that, coming to our job is testing. So as a QA engineer, your main job is you need to download the requirements, right? You need to download the project requirements. You need to study the requirements. Based on these requirements only, we need to conduct the testing. And based on this requirements only, we need to conduct the testing. So that means we need to check all the requirements fulfilled in the project or not. All the client requirements fulfilled in the project or not. That is our main job. Again, in the testing, we have automation testing and manual testing. So what is automation? What is a manual? So without using any tools, if you conduct a testing, that is a manual testing. So with using some tools, with using some programming, if you conduct a testing, so that is a automation testing. Say for example, for your understanding purpose, I'll explain a small example. Say in generally in our apartments, we have a lift facility and we have a steps facility. Here you can assume like the steps is a manual process, the lift is a automation process, right? So here, for example, if you want to go to the first floor and you need to wait for the lift for 10 minutes like that. Instead of waiting 10 minutes, manually you can go to the first floor. So whereas you want to go to the 20th floor or 30th floor, so then better go by lift only. Okay. Here also, when you are conducting a testing, if you want to test your application with just one or two inputs, just go with a manual. And you want to test your application with hundreds of inputs or thousands of inputs, better go with automation. Okay. So one more thing. Say sometimes the same testing should be repeated for a multiple times. In that case also better go with automation testing. Only one time you need to write a program and save the program with you. In future, anytime if you need the same testing, simply you can execute that saved program any number of times. You can repeat the same testing. So like that, according to the situation, we need to choose the manual is good or automation is good. But when you are learning, you need to learn the both things. Okay, that is good for our career. Okay. So now coming to the next one, after the testing, so now coming to the release. Release means install the application in the client area. Install the application in client area is called as a release. So after this installation, if the client needs any modification, if the client is having any problems, the client is having any doubts, so that will take care by the maintenance team. So this team is also called as a production supporting team. Production supporting. Say after the release, if the client is having any issues, that will take care by the maintenance team. Right. So just it is a little bit information about SDLC. So before entering into the testing, we should know about SDLC, like we should know what are the steps involved in a software development. So then only we can enter into our test. So now coming to the QA engineer responsibilities. So what are the test engineer responsibilities? See, as a QA engineer, our main job, our first job is we need to download the project requirements, your project requirements. What are the project you are going to handle? Initially, you need to download your project requirements in your company. After downloading the requirements, you need to study the requirements. They will give a time to study the requirements. And after that, if you have any doubts in the particular requirements, so you need to fill the doubts in RCN. Here the RCN stands for Requirement Clarification Note. Requirement Clarification Note. It is also called as a clarification document. So in future, we are going to see what is the format of RCN and everything. Okay, here I'll explain in our future classes. Just it is introduction. I'm giving what are the things in our QA training and everything. Okay. Say once your doubts are rectified, in generally we need to send the doubts to our SME, subject matter expert or domain expert or business analyst or author of the document. According to your company standards, we need to send the doubts to them. And once the doubts are rectified, then our main job is TC preparation. Now, in our testing, the main job, the heart of our job is TC preparation, I mean test case preparation. So before preparing the test cases, we need to identify the test scenarios. We need to identify the test scenarios. What is the meaning of test scenario? Test scenario means the main functionalities to be tested. The main functionalities to be tested. What are the things we need to test in your project? The important points, the main points you need to identify. So based on that scenarios, again, we need to prepare the test cases. So while test case preparation, mainly we are depending on use cases. Mainly we are depending on use cases. Now, where is this use case and what is this use case? In generally, the use cases are a part of your FRS. Use cases are a part of your FRS, or it may be a separate document also in some situations. See, the use case is containing the actor action and the system responses. A use case is containing actor action and system response. That means in your project, for what are the actions, what is the system responses. So that is available in the use case. The use cases will be given to you. So based on these use cases only, we need to prepare the test case. That means you need to conduct the particular action. You need to check the system response. That means you need to check your project response. If the expected response is there, okay, it is good. If there is no expected response, then you can say like there is a defect in the particular area. So like that, we are going to prepare our test cases. And after that, we need to prepare the test data. Test data means the data which is used to execute your test cases. The data which is used to implement your test case or execute your test case. For example, you are writing a test case on login page, like verify the login with valid input and verify the login with invalid input. Right? Verify the login with a valid input, verify the login with invalid input. Then what is the data for that? Valid username password is one of the data. Invalid username password is another data. So like that, we need to prepare the test data here. So we need to conduct both positive testing and negative testing. So positive testing means test the application with a valid inputs. Negative testing means test the application with invalid inputs. So like that, we need to prepare the valid data and invalid data. So in future, we are going to see how to prepare the test data also. It is also our responsibility. And a traceability matrix, just it is a mapping between the requirements and test cases. It is a mapping between the requirements and test cases. So simply for your understanding purpose, you can understand like it is a mapping between your use cases and test cases. Under which use case, what are the test cases we designed? So we need to map in this traceability matrix. We have a separate template for that we are going to see in future. Next one is execute your test cases on the build or implement your test cases on the build. Now, what is the meaning of a build? Build is nothing but a complete application or a part of the application which is ready for testing. Now, what is a build? Build means a complete application or a part of the application which is ready for testing. That means it may be a full project or it may be a module, so which is ready for testing. So that is called as a build. So we need to execute our test cases on the build. But while execution, test case execution, see some test cases may be pass, some test cases may be failure. So when you can say like a test case is pass or when you can say like a test case is failure. See, in your test cases, we are going to write the expected value and actual value. If the expected things and actual things both are same, the test case will pass. If the expected value and actual value both are mismatched, then the test case will be failure. So in generally, in our real life also, whatever we are expecting, if the same thing is happened, we are happy. So whatever we are expecting, if it is not happened, we are not happy. Here also same. If the expected value and actual value both are same, the test case will be passed. If both are mismatched, the test case is failure. So test case failure means, so we can say like a defect is identified. We need to enter the defect in bug report. Finally, the bug report will be reached to developer. So we are going to see in our regular classes like how to prepare the bug report and everything. So finally, the bug report will be reached to developer. What is the reason why the bug report should be reached to developer? See, as a QA engineer, we need to identify the problem. See, we are not fixing the problem. We are not solving the problem. We need to identify the problem. So who need to fix the problem? The problem should be fixed by the developer. So that's why finally the bug report will be sent to the developer. Then the developer have to fix the bugs. Developer have to fix the bugs based on the priority. So first high priority bugs will be fixed, next medium priority, next low priority. So like that, the developer will fix the problem. Now, what is the meaning of fixing? Fixing means he will solve the problem. Developer will solve the problems based on the priority. So actually here we have a severity and priority, two different concepts. In future we are going to see. Severity means the seriousness of the problem. The seriousness of the problem. Priority indicates the importance of the problem. Here the seriousness is different. The importance is different. So in future we are going to see what is the severity, what is the priority in depth. So here the developer have to fix the bugs based on the priority. So after the major bugs are fixed, then the modified build will be released to test engine. After fixing the major bugs, the modified build release it to the QA engineer, a test engineer. What is the reason why the modified build release it to us? We need to check, we need to recheck really the bug is fixed or not. If really the bug is fixed, if the bug is fixed, then as a QA engineer, we have to close the bug. We have to close the bug. So here the bug fixing is different and the bug closing is different. The bug fixing is different, the bug closing. Who will fix the problem? The developer have to fix the problem. Who will close the problem? As a QA engineer, we need to close the particular issue. When you need to close it, really, if the problem is fixed, if it is fixed really, so you feel like the problem is solved, then you need to close the bug. But still, if there is a issue, then simply send it back to your developer. So just roughly I explained what are the things happened in our QA department. We have a different documents in our testing department, like test scenarios, test cases, test data, traceability matrix, bug reports, right? And we have one more document like a test plan. So test plan means, so it is like a journey plan or a trip plan for your understanding purpose. Say for example, a general example, I have a 10 days holidays. I want to go for a trip, for example. So before start my trip, a holiday trip, so I'm going to prepare a plan, a trip plan. So what is the content of our trip plan in generally? So like what is the objective of the main trip, and schedule like what is the day one plan, day two plan, day three plan, day four, and so and so, like timetable. Next, resources required for the trip. What are the resources? Like food, money, clothes, and so and so, right? For holiday trip, what is the trip plan? What is the objective of our trip? I mean, what is our main aim of our trip? Next, schedule day one, day two, day three. Next, resources required like money, food, clothes. In the same way, here we have a test plan. In the test plan also, same like your trip plan, what is the objective of our testing? What is the scope of our testing? Scope means what to be tested and what not to be tested, the boundaries. Resources for testing department, what are the resources required? Like what are the software things required, what are the hardware things required, how much manpower is required. And schedules, how many days for scenarios, how many days for test cases, how many days for test data, like that. So this is a content of your test plan. In future, we are going to see the test plan. Now, just today, I given a little bit information about the QA department. Okay. So here in future, we are going to see the manual testing classes as well as automation classes also. Okay. In automation, I'm going to teach the Selenium with Java. So even you don't have any idea on programming, don't worry. So from the basics onwards, I'm going to teach the core Java. It's not an advanced Java, core Java is enough. So I'll start with a very initial stage, like what is a variable. And here after that, core Java, we are entering into the Selenium. So if you need a personal training, like if you need a one-to-one training, so then in the description, I'll share my email ID. So you can contact me. I mean, if you need a one-to-one training, then I'll provide the one-to-one training also, both manual and automation, and SQL Server also. Okay, that's up to you. And so for today, I'm closing here. So thank you so much. And anyone needs the same class in Telugu, maybe on tomorrow and after tomorrow. So I'll release the same class in Telugu also. So please like, share, and subscribe my channel. So newly I started this channel, and I need all of your support. Please share and subscribe my channel. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. Okay. Thank you. Bye.